days or that, whatever. So that importance has gone for foundation days. So then one more thing is that, but yes, this is a day to remember, it's a foundation day, the purpose for which these CSR institutions were found basically. It was to support scientific research for industrial purpose. Again, there are times when you are focusing more on science and less on industry, or sometimes more on industry, less on science. And right through 34 years of my service in CSIR, I rarely found a year or a regime when there is a good blend of both the things. Either we are getting shifted to science entirely for patents and publications, no technologies, or we are into the domain where we only talk of technologies without really scientific basis. So this pendulum is shifting from this to that. Anyway, it depends on so many things around us. Purpose is that now we, as a CSR officer or CSR employee, we have to assess ourselves whether I am doing justice to this scientific and industrial research, whether I am doing justice to this, whether I am facilitating the things as required by the constitution or as required by the mandate of the institution. This is the time to assess, and it's a self-assessment. And self-assessment is the best thing. You cannot fool others. You can fool others, you cannot fool yourselves. So you can look into your own selves and your own achievements over there and just assess yourself. What I have done for CSIR from scientific perspective and from industrial research perspective. And then we will realize that there are many things which are done and many things which are to be done. So I will not get into all those details because it itself can be a different lecture. 26th, there was a good gala celebration. And nowadays, sir, we are into the habit of celebration. So, there is always a bonanza of all events. And so achievements and these are kept aside. Main is bonanza, social media, how much likes, dislikes you get, and what publicity you get. So unfortunately, scientific and industry is. But the point is that our Honorable Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankarji, was chief guest for the function on CSR Foundation Day at Delhi. He praised CSR for all its credentials which we have earned through these 82 years. But there are many which are still there we don't know, and there can be list of things, and we should keep on adding to that. Things which are there like Election Inc. 1952, I think NPL was developed. Nobody knows that, but it is still there. There is no substitute. So let us try to do such research, such a contribution to the society and nation that it is forever, whether people remember it or not. But whenever somebody goes into the history of that particular thing, your name should be there, your institute's name should be there. Jagdeep Dhankarji, everybody nowadays, there is a kind of trend that interpret CSIR in different ways. So he interpreted the catalyst for scientific imaginative Rashtra. Of course, he is vice president. So catalyst I can understand, imaginative, scientific imaginative Rashtra I can understand. But catalyst, as the definition of catalyst goes, catalyst should take part in the reaction, keep aside. But unfortunately nowadays, catalyst gets carried away with the reactions many a times, and reactions are kept aside, and catalyst loses its importance in due course of time. So we are carried away by many other things. So friends, my colleagues, what I want to say is that it's a time to dedicate our own self to the real science and technology. Publicity, patents, all these things will keep on coming. What you have to remember is that you should have a basic or fundamental scientific research, a good technology around, not for publicity. That can be there for a few years and then you can be in a problem. So I request all of you to strive for a good science and technology on this CSIR day. We should take kind of place that yes, I will do a very good research, very basic scientific research, no publicity intended. publicity getting automatically is a different issue. You should work for science and technology, and that too is it must have industrial application. Even if we pledge and remember this for a year, I think we have really celebrated Science CSR Foundation Day. So with this, there are a lot of programs to be done here, felicitations and programs. So I stop here. I again welcome all for this CSR Foundation Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts and setting the tone for today's celebration. I now would like to announce the e-release of the Paryavaran Patrika. Through Paryavaran Patrika, our endeavor is to popularize the subjects being communicated to the general public and reach them so that people from all sections of society can benefit from it. This magazine has properly incorporated information from the work being done in the field of waste management. We would like to express our grateful and heartfelt gratitude to the authors for taking out their time and dedicating their articles to this magazine. Special congratulations to the editorial board for their efficient editing and compilation of the articles. I now would like to invite Dr. Vaidya, Director of CSIR-NEERI, and our esteemed chief guest for the official e-release of this important work. I also request the editorial team to join.
चलो क्लिक करें यस So this is a glimpse of Paryavaran Patrika, which is for common man of this country.
नमस्कार, ये पर्यावरण पत्रिका सॉफ्ट कॉपी में हम रिलीज कर रहे हैं। इसमें जो भी है हम अपशिष्ट प्रबंधन पर ये पत्रिका है, जनमानस में पर्यावरण की साक्षरता के हेतु। पत्रिका का विमोचन हम इसके द्वारा कर लिए हैं और जो है हार्ड कॉपी आपको जल्दी उपलब्ध कराएंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, everyone. Today we have also scheduled the release of the book titled Bamboo Diversity in India and its role for surface erosion control. This publication marks a significant contribution to our understanding of sustainable practices and environmental conservation. This book tells about 168 different Indian species in Indian forest. Congratulations to my colleague Dr. Lal Singh, Principal Scientist at CSIR-NEERI, and his team for their efficient editing and compilation. I request the dignitaries and also the author to please join for the release. Thank you so much. Now it's high time to welcome our chief guest. It's my distinct honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest for today's celebration. Professor Ranjan Banerjee He is the director of IIT Delhi and has had a distinguished career in the field of energy, science and engineering. With extensive experience in renewable energy and energy efficiency, Professor Banerjee has made significant contributions to both academic and industry sectors. He has been a guiding force in various national projects and initiatives aimed at promoting sustainable energy practices. With a remarkable academic background, he holds a graduation in mechanical engineering and a PhD from IIT Bombay. Professor Banerjee began his career at Cadbury's Tele Engineers India Limited before joining IIT Bombay in 1993, where he played a pivotal role in establishing the Department of Energy Science and Engineering, serving as its first head. Professor Banerjee's contributions to the field of science and engineering, serving its first head, are extensive. He has spearheaded numerous projects aimed at advancing sustainable practices in industry. As a Dean of Research and Development at IIT Bombay, he was instrumental in initiating various research infrastructure projects and fostering collaborations between academia and industry. One of his notable achievements includes setting up a megawatt-scale solar thermal power plant test facility sponsored by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, which showcases his commitment to innovation in renewable technologies. Furthermore, he served as a faculty advisor for Team Shunya, leading students who represented India in prestigious solar decathlon competitions across Europe, China, and United States, where they built solar-powered houses that exemplify sustainable living. Professor Banerjee's expertise has been sought by several key government bodies, including the Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission and NITI Aayog, where he advised on crucial energy-related policies. He has also been a prominent figure in global energy assessments, contributing to the International Institute for Applied Science and System Analysis. Since February 22, Professor Banerjee has held the position of Director at IIT Delhi and continues to inspire the next generation of engineers as a professor in the Department of Energy Science and Engineering. His remarkable achievements had earned him the Excellence in Teaching Award at IIT Bombay and is a proud fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering. Please join me in warm welcome Professor Rangan Banerjee to share his invaluable insights.
Good morning. I'd like to thank NEERI, Dr. Vaidya and his colleagues for giving me this opportunity and this honor. I'd like to colleagues on the giving me this foundation opportunity and this honor. I'd like to colleagues on the giving me this foundation opportunity and this researchers. Great. How many of you are experimentalists and make prototypes and work with your hands in lab? Great. How many modelers? More interested in simulation than modeling. Okay, more researchers than modelers. Great. And so I'm going to, it's as Dr. Vaidya talked about the history and the necessity to focus on science and not focus on the immediate publicity and the social media. I think this is a very important message there. I am going to give you a quick perspective on sustainability and environmental research. So knowing that you are from environmental research, I didn't want to talk about energy. Mostly so I'm going to talk a little bit about what is the challenge of sustainability, what does it mean for environmental research in the future, and then I'll give you some glimpses of some of the work done by our colleagues at IIT Delhi in environmental research. The objective is to encourage some of you to want to collaborate, and so that we can work together for some things. We'll look at this for talk for about 30 minutes, and if there is some time, you can also handle some questions. So I think that for all of you, I think this is something that you all know, you think about. What is sustainability, right? What is sustainability? Is a question many of you would have thought about, and going forward, we want to try and define whatever research we are doing to move society towards a sustainable future. And in doing that, the question that we must ask ourselves is that, is our present consumption pattern sustainable? What do you think? Yes or no? No. Most people feel it's no. And can we continue this into the future? And the answer which all of you have given is what is true is that it's not possible to continue the present consumption pattern indefinitely into the future. We need to make changes. We know what is unsustainable, but defining what is sustainable is always a tricky thing. So sometimes it's a negation, we say something that is not unsustainable is something we want to. So let me just give you some sort of historical trend. And this is from the Global Energy Assessment. What you see is if you plot any parameter that is involved with humans, you will see that there is an exponential growth kind of characteristic when you look at it versus that. So you start with, and the reason for that is very clear. The population, the dynamics of population, very naturally is rate of change of population proportional to population. dP by dt proportional to P. Integrated, you get population will grow exponentially. And then you see that. You see in this, you see an exponential growth. And everything, the history of humanity has been where we have tried to use more and more resources to make our lives comfortable. It's a human-centric growth. This is normal, right? So your population growing exponentially, and we take resources per unit of population, that's also growing. So essentially, GDP, foreign direct investment, damming of rivers, water use, fertilizer consumption, paper consumption, even McDonald's restaurants are growing exponentially, right? Vehicles, telephones, tourism. Now, when you look at this, you think of an exponential, remember in the normal mathematics, we talk of an exponential growth curve. Look at the area under the curve, and if you integrate 0 to infinity, it's unbounded, right? Area under the curve, which means that we are presuming infinite resources. So very clearly, of course, technological change may be there, so you may be able to get certain things better, but even then, this continuous for a particular finite planet and finite resources, it is unsustainable to have an exponential growth indefinitely into the future. It may stabilize somewhere. So that is one of the things which we talk of in terms of the reasoning for saying that our current patterns are not sustainable into the future. And sustainability was developed, defined by the Brundtland Commission, which says that it's a sustainable development is that development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. What does this mean? It means that future generations must have at least the same quality of life that we are enjoying today. So we must put enough resources so that means it's development without cheating our children and grandchildren. And typically studies show that, at most we are interested in 2 generations. Beyond that, your mind cannot think through. But in any case, the idea is that we would like to see that future generations enjoy at least the same quality of life. And that's one of the ways in which we. Now, again, this is something you must have all seen. We have the whole world got together, the UNDP, and we created the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and most of the research that you are doing in environmental field and environmental technologies affects directly or indirectly affects whether it is we are talking of poverty, hunger, we are talking of good health, well-being, education, gender equality, all these 17 goals. And the world has taken stock, and only a small portion of it, the idea was that all of this we would try to reach by 2030. We're not doing too well on this, and overall all national policies and are going towards trying to make this into sustainable development goals. So that's one of the contexts, and this is from a textbook on sustainable energy, and very clearly, most of our processes, when we look at energy, we're taking the natural resources, we explore, produce, convert, utilize, and we get some useful goods and services. But in the process, there are some undesirable impacts, whether it is radiation, waste heat, sound, and this is what there are adverse environmental impacts. Sometimes they show up immediately, sometimes they show up when the scale increases, and when we get into a bottleneck. So the idea is get the useful needs, but minimize those impacts. And that's where our technology, our understanding of the systems, everything comes in. And you can now look at air, you can look at water, you can look at soil. And, in the case of air pollution, we are looking at impacts which are local, regional, global. And in each of these, some of these, we started, then we identified, we noticed the problem, then we got the science behind it, then we tried to do technologies to mitigate it or change the processes, and that's the way in which things have happened. And in all of this, some of them directly impact us. For instance, if you look at, I now stay in Delhi, and in Delhi and the NCR region, several months of the year, we actually can feel the impact, right? And then the question is, what are the sources? How much of it is due to transport? How much is dust? How much is stubble burning? All of this is where science and engineering comes into it. You have emissions, you have concentration, you have exposure, then you have health impacts. And all of this is multidisciplinary. You need to look at links, you need to create models and see how that goes. I'm going to talk to you about a paper. It's an old paper. It's a 2009 paper in Nature. It's available in the public domain, so you can take a look at it.